Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by Revolut Business. If you run a company here in Portugal or anywhere across Europe, you already know how painful old-school banking can be, slow transfers, hidden fees, and endless paperwork. Revolut Business changes that. With a Revolut Business account, you can get lightning-fast international payments, multi-currency wallets, and smart expense management all in one app. And here's the best part. When you sign up using our special link, Podcast Portugal receives €400 as a referral bonus. It's a great way to streamline your business finances and support the show at the same time. So if you've been thinking about upgrading your business banking, now's the moment. Just click Revolut Business in the show notes and get started today. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal. A good morning to everybody, and possibly an afternoon, and also possibly a good evening. I'm here today with André Castro. So as far as I know, André, he is a Portuguese. I'm not sure if he was born here or returned to Portugal anyway from San Francisco, I believe. So he's here to tell his story. And I want to ask him the really big question straight away. Why did you return to Portugal?
So basically, I'm going back with what you were saying before. So actually, I'm from Portugal.
Okay.
I was born on the surroundings of Lisbon in the place called Oeiras. So it's like
I know. Yeah, near where Tigers Park is.
Exactly. Actually, this is my region, right next to the area.
Nice.
So
I like it around there.
My life there, and when I got married in 2012, and a year later. Me and my wife, because the economy back then, 2012, 13, it was still pretty shaky here. We decided to go to US, to California in this case. And that's how we ended up going to US. So we just went to visit the family and decided, you know what, let's just try live in a different place. And that's how we ended up in California. But now, 10 years later, actually almost 11 years later, we decided it was time to be back to Portugal. That we had enough of living in US.
Yeah, nice. It's a common story at the moment. Like you're seeing a lot of people move away, and then they have the saudade, and then return to. And is your wife is Yaz? Is it? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is she also from originally from Portugal?
No, she is originally from US. She's originally from San Francisco, California.
Ah, okay.
So that's the way she's from. Even when we met here in Portugal, we met here, got married here, and a year and a half later in our marriage, like I said, we went back. The interesting thing is she never, on her mind, thought she would never go back to US. She actually was not looking forward to go back to US.
Wow, okay.
So, but yeah, we went up there. No, we are in a new chapter in our life that we loved it here.
So what is it you're doing here? What did you set up? You returned from, what were you doing in California? And then what did you come back here to set up and continue or start afresh?
So in US, so when I moved to US, I basically went to work in the construction there. I had some experience here from Portugal, but as we know, different methods, different ways of doing things there. I enjoyed a lot, actually, the working there, and I learned a lot of skills, a lot of new ways of doing things that in my small mind back in the day, I would never thought that I would have those abilities or capabilities of doing certain things. I enjoyed learning a lot of the carpentry, and today is one of my favorite things to do. So I have to say that in the US on that, it really opened my mind, the horizons of things that you were able to do. So this what I was doing there in US.
Yeah, a lot.
As well, after a while, we actually had the farm in California,
Ah, nice.
and we raised alpacas, sheep, goats. But we did that with the purpose of the house that we had in the farm. We converted into an Airbnb. So I was doing the hosting of the Airbnb, and part of the experience we create was if people come in the countryside. In this case, we were in the wine region, Sonoma, Napa Valley. We just want people to have a different experience when they think about the countryside housing. So instead of just being in the middle of the vineyards that we had around, we want to give them something different so that we had them interact with the animals as much as possible through the experience. So that. This is what all these things we did, or what I was doing there in US.
Yeah.
All this kind of work. Then now coming back, just we came back in 2024, and coming back, we decided to do a basically I changed or I shifted some of the things I was doing. I'm still doing managing. I'm managing Airbnbs here in Portugal, and I do kind of like a concierge service in general. So basically, main job is real estate, and on my part of the services is to help people of basically to help them with the move to Portugal, all the process of helping them getting connected to the right people to help them with the visa, any documentation that needed to help them to make the move smoother, and then help them find the accommodation, in this case, buying or renting. And if they need help with finding a car, whatever they need help with, I'll basically this is my work that I'm doing right now here. So basically,
Nice.
I shifted some of the things I was doing. Of course, like I said, I was still managing Airbnbs here, and it is in a way is all connected. And as well, I'm managing projects, construction or remodeling projects for my clients. So, like for example, I have a few projects. Some of my clients that brought properties here, they need work, so I'm constantly going there to make sure everything is going right, smoother, and everything is going well.
Yeah, making sure the builders are there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I speak to a lot of guests, and they have a very similar story that they've moved out of Portugal and they've gone to find work and gained a lot of experience and seen different things and different ways of doing various different tasks and techniques, and then they bring it back to Portugal, and then they have a nice entrepreneurial flair, and they start using some of those experiences in creating new projects in Portugal. It's a really nice. Sometimes in the back of my mind, sometimes I feel like if you go to university or you don't go to university, what you should definitely do is go to the University of Life, travel, go see other places, see how people do things, and then bring those things back to your native country. I think I've seen a lot of entrepreneurial spirit born out of the sort of experiences you've had. Yeah. How do you feel? How do you find the? Well, actually, I want to ask you first. It was in the back of my mind. Do you still have alpacas?
I don't. So
Nah.
this is part of our sad part of the change.
Mm.
Um, we had to sell everything. So basically, we sold our farm. We had to sell the property, and it was important for us to find suitable homes for all the animals.
Mm.
That happened, and it was a very emotional goodbye for us.
Yeah.
It was for the things we were able to build in the farm, because we basically remodeled the house. We converted a carport into a really nice studio that was for me and my wife, and then have them. It would be basically our life was interact with animals every day, and then say goodbye to them was very
Mm.
hard for us.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful and nice experience that we had spent time with them, as well. Actually, some of the alpacas made part of a movie,
Yeah.
and that was quite interesting. Yeah, so we had it was a small movie production that happened in close to in the town close where we live, and they were actually looking for alpacas for the
Mhm.
movie. They heard about us and interviewed us. They liked the animals, and we took them to the movie set. And I actually had the pleasure to meet briefly Brooke Shields
Ah,
because of that.
wow,
She was part
nice.
of the movie. Yeah,
Only
it
only
was
in
a nice
California,
thing.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, we had good memories. We it was a nice period of time that we had, and it was great just to have that experience to see how it is even as being a small movie production, but to see behind the scenes all the work is involved on that. Have the alpacas involved on the movie, play part of the movie was quite an experience.
Did they behave?
They did
Yeah,
actually. I was pretty surprised on that. To be honest with you, I was not sure how they would interact. I know they love people because I see
Mhm.
them on the farm tours. This is one of the things I was doing. I was doing farm tours for like just private farm tours for families,
Mhm.
and they love people in general. But one thing is to have let's say like 5, 7 people be with them, and now they are with a lot of people, a lot of technical things,
Yeah.
equipment.
The pressure of being
And,
on in a movie and performing for Brooke Shields, I can imagine there was a lot of pressure on them.
but they did really well.
Yeah,
It was like I said,
naturals.
even them, they were very surprised how well it went because like I remember like one of the scenes, he was just a natural. He just got there in the first shot. He was okay, like like nothing happened. And then
Really.
they say that's not very common with animals, even trained sometimes to keep calm right in the beginning, but he was just very calm. So it was great.
What do you know what was it a movie? You know what which movie it was?
Yes, he calls Holiday Harmony.
Ah,
So if
nice.
people want to see, yeah, Holiday Harmony was yeah, it should be when the release was in HBO Max, but probably you can find it somewhere online by these days.
Mm,
But that's the name of the movie, Holiday
nice.
Harmony. So they two of my alpacas are there in the movie.
I thought about getting alpacas here on the farm, but they in Alentejo it might be a little bit warm from them. You know, they're used to the high Andes, right? So
Uh, yes, they are. Yeah, because in Alentejo it's warm, but as long as if you have like kind of cool mornings, towards the winter, of course, it gets a little chill, more
mm,
colder. You have that climate, you might be able to have them. You just have to, just make sure, of course, the summer they have some kind of shade areas
mm.
for them to go, and of course, that's the time that you want to make sure um, they went to the barber. Let's put this away.
It's I often reading. I'm often reading like when people are making the move from returning or coming to Portugal for the first time, even visiting. I've often seen on posts like people trying to find ways of getting here with their pets. Like I've seen people asking about Air France and whether they can take their dogs on a seat.
Hmm.
Because I remember once flying to Paris. I'm pretty sure. I think this is a true memory. But I remember there being a really great big Alsatian, like a German Shepherd, in the back of the plane, sitting under one of the seats when I went to the bathroom. And I think that was Air France, or it was definitely a flight from Paris to Lisbon. And I've even seen advertised a private jet service for pets. So it's definitely something on people's minds. It's like how I know my mom. She would love to be able to travel with her two little dogs, but the thought of for her of putting them in a cage in the hold is a bit too much. So I think there is I think there is a market out there, airlines, if you're listening, to have at least one or two flights per week, which is also sort of pet friendly, and you can buy the seats for the dogs as well, or cats, or whatever you want to bring. I'm not sure alpacas would follow some
Well,
safety.
I'll be honest with you. I actually, in the beginning, we actually thought, like, could we do something similar what we're doing there here in Portugal? We actually thought like just bring some of them with us.
Yeah,
and I look into it. It just because you do have some livestock airlines, so basically it's just specifically for this kind of animals. I
Hmm.
guess as carriers. The price wise was not like super expensive. Of course, it had a certain high cost because they use this, to sometimes to if you can, for horses, alpacas, sheep.
I guess. Yeah.
They're able to use these, airplanes just for that.
Especially freight, like a freight plane. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just exactly. So we thought about it, but the problem that I had. I- so we had two options. It was the freight carrier, in this case with the airplane, and of course you have the regular one. You go with
Mm.
the freight, but in this case with shipment, with big boat. So it's just after COVID things changed drastically. When we talk about regard regulation, and that just made it worse. It's like they had to be a period of quarantine time prior
Oh,
they
okay.
go on the plane or the ship. So they would have to be in their facility for, I think it was like for 40 days or something like that.
Oh, that's a lot.
And then by the time they travel, by the time they get to Portugal, another quarantine time.
Yeah.
And there's one thing when you think about these kind of animals, one thing is how you treat them, how you take care of them. But when you put
Mm.
your own kind of animal like this in somebody's hands, not knowing exactly, they don't look at them as pets, they look at them as just
Mm-hmm.
livestock with this way.
Mm.
I just didn't want to have them going through that kind of stress.
Yeah.
And by the time I see them, I would probably be devastated just to see the condition, you
Yeah.
know?
It's probably fairer to
So,
them to find a new home in California. Somebody's going to treat them similar to how, because they're probably used
yeah,
to
and
that
then
as
we
well.
were very picky. I have
Yeah.
to say that we were very picky. We were very specific, and everything's just fall in place. So every single family had the same vision that we had, like as the way they look at them, and they care for them. So everything, like I said, everything worked out. We were very happy for every single place they went because it was just a really happy environment that they were going to.
Yeah.
So
I think
that was great.
if it's fairly
But I
easy.
understand what you're saying about the question of the animals because we have
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
We had four little dogs.
Yeah.
We were not leaving behind. We brought them with us.
Hmm.
Well, because their size,
Did they go in the
yeah,
hold?
yeah. So
Oh,
we actually flew with Delta.
okay.
Delta was great on that, actually,
Hmm.
very helpful and very friendly. The way they take care of us from the beginning when we called them to book the trips. And we told them about the dogs. They basically put us at ease. They say if the dog is if it's a toy size, that they are like toy size. If they fit in the crate, they can go with you guys under your seat, and it was no
Okay.
problem.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
we were able to do that. And like with Delta, it was very simple and easy
Yeah.
to do that. And the travel went really well for them actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have to give them some kind of medication so they don't? I guessing like because it's quite a long flight, isn't it, from the US well, from California to Portugal's a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
flight.
because we had the stop. Where the stop was in Philadelphia, so that kind of helped.
Yeah.
But still, it's quite a. We talk about total of at least 13 to 15 hours. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
when
But
you do the combination of the amount of time.
yeah.
But
I'm just
so
imagining them
we
like pooping and the smell of the of dog poop on
yeah,
the for the guy
well,
sitting in front.
yeah. But be honest with you, so they actually didn't do anything.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
didn't
that's right.
pee or poop during both flights. Like everything was just fine. Like we were
Yeah.
able to make sure they had to do what they had to do prior
Hmm.
they go inside the airplane, and when we stopped in Philadelphia, they did the same thing. So everything just went really smooth.
Yeah.
The yeah. So you ask if we give him something. So we
Yeah.
actually didn't give any medication
Hmm.
to help him to feel relaxed. Well,
Some different. No, I was thinking more like as a to stop them going to the bathroom, so.
Oh, no. So everything is about the training we can give to our
Mm,
animals. And if we train them well in the house, they will behave well in airplane as well.
yeah.
So what we did was more like we did something like more natural, because we did some research. And we talked with the vet, and if even some vets were saying that, oh yeah, you could give them this medicine to make them relax, but they
Mm.
actually is not recommended to give them any medication when you
No,
fly with them,
exactly.
because they say when you give medication to help to put them relax, because their body is going to be feeling the same amount of pressure we feel, and they are more sensitive. If their bodies and oxygen doesn't adjust, it could be almost fatal for them with that medication. So because of that, we decided like, okay, we're not doing the medication. So we did some research, and what we did, we bought actually on Amazon some amp oil,
Yeah.
and just give them just a tiny bit of it, and just help them to be at ease.
Mm,
But they were awake while they're traveling. We don't just we always just check on them. They were fine, just chill. But like I said, the flight was very smooth with them, uh, with our dogs.
yeah,
And
good.
I think that's I think it's like I said, it's part of the training we as owners can give to the dogs, is make sure that they understand, at home they don't do nothing. Certain places that when we are now home, we have to make sure that they don't do the same thing. So,
Mm. Yeah, it's good.
um,
It's good to hear because you've gone through these experiences that you really can give good advice to with your concierge service of people wanting to sort of find out about the same thing, because it's you can give advice, but if you've actually had the experience yourself, it makes a big difference.
yeah, exactly. So it was a great experience, and I'm happy to share any information, with people if they need to make that traveling smooth.
So, do you think has it you've noticed the change in the property market in the last 10 years, because you've returned, and there was a reason for you returning, but well, perhaps many reasons, but one of them was definitely the post financial crisis, and now what we're seeing in Portugal is a little bit of a boom. I would guess in the last 10 years. Would you agree with that?
Yes, big difference.
Hmm. What do you think?
Uh,
What do you think has brought that about? What you've been your hands are on the market, so to speak. What do you think has been the factors that contributed to this little boom we're having?
well, couple things. Let's just put it this way. So 10 years ago, of course, prices were really low, and not comparing with what it is now. Um, Prices were way lower. You can find, properties a more reasonable prices. But and then you had the situation, because of the 2008 crisis that affected all the world. Portugal was, of course, on that boat as well. The Like I said, at least for a good 10 year period, you had a lot of people that lost their homes, and a lot of inventory in the banks. I
Mm.
remember, and this was one of the big difference. I remember even when I came in 2019, and sometimes I think about that. I'm like, why I didn't try get something back in the day. Uh, a lot of banks actually were giving houses. When I say giving, is they were trying to get rid of the houses they had so many of their in their inventory by giving 100% financing.
Hmm.
Like you didn't have to put any money down. They just say, you own the house, we'll give you 100% financing. Here's the house. Of course, you have to go through the process of qualify for the values and all that, but the idea was that. So big, and the prices, like the market was so much different, it was more accessible. Um, I think the changes with the market change that's happened right now is related to the the quantity of people that decide and realize how great Portugal it is. More people coming in, they have more power of buying than the Portuguese itself. So a lot of people could just buy cash. It's easier for them to do that, and sometimes even go above the the market value of the property. So all that starts like making the prices go up. Then of course, you know, and I have to say sorry, my Portuguese friends, to say this, but some people, I think, they took advantage of that process of saying like, oh, my neighbor just sold a house for 100,000. Mine is then it should be 150. So then these little things just start going up with the idea that if somebody sells for higher, then my house is higher. So you kind of creates this ball rolling. So like I said, it is the quantity of people that decided the last few years to move to Portugal. They are realizing how great a place it is, plus the demand it is to find to for homes that made all the prices to start going up. So yeah, I don't want to say that maybe it could be some greedy sometimes behind, but that would be probably the most the reasons. It's like I said, it's
Well,
plenty
you're
of people
gonna,
moving in,
yeah, you're
and
gonna,
then the idea of the prices start going up a little,
yeah.
quite a bit,
Well, you're gonna take advantage. I mean, we could call it greedy, but you could also say, well, in many people, the property is their only asset with any value, and they're going to want to try to get as much money for it as possible, and it's understandable. And I think also tourism with such a heavy reliance, I don't know what it's like, 35% or something of GDP is from tourism, and I think it makes a lot of sense that with property prices how they were, that people come in and they perhaps buy a second home, whether they're Portuguese or from outside Portugal. They'll buy a holiday home, and then with the rise of Airbnb making it so easy to market a product, a property, I think it was a nice combination of that sort of pushed the prices. Airbnb started to get a bit more strict, and then it made it, not, I wouldn't say harder, but it's kind of a little bit like the Uber story in Portugal. Like Uber was super easy, like you could just get in your car, drive it around, pick somebody up, and charge them. And then understandably, the taxi guys were like saying, "Hey, we've got regulations, we got licenses, we've got this to pay and that to pay, and these Uber drivers don't have anything." And you get the process of then the administration trying to legalize all of these, or at least license these sort of internet companies, basically, which just give that initial freedom and creates a big boom, and then the authorities tend to catch up and try to regularize. Not sure how you say that word, but I definitely feel that was a case here in Portugal. I mean, the Airbnb market just exploded. It for good. For good and for worse, there's good and bad in everything. It meant that a lot of properties were invested in the center of villages and were renovated. Like what you're doing is helping with renovations. Lots of small properties being renovated. Perhaps it's questionable whether then it creates a strange village atmosphere when you have a lot of holiday homes, but then, if those houses were just left vacant anyway because they were too old to live in or whatever, then, it's good and bad. So
Yeah,
it's a
no, I
difficult.
agree with you. It just, it's no, let's just grab I think the big cities. Like we talk about Lisbon and Porto, probably the biggest ones in the country. How many buildings were there and just falling apart, and and they're considering historical buildings. I appreciate it, and I have to commend for the people that they had to come from outside, get that, and turn out that in something amazing. And the historical facade is still there, like the way you look at it, is just bring that joy. I prefer to see something that is being used than being just falling apart.
I agree.
You know.
I agree.
So
we need this regeneration, and there's always going to be teething problems, but I think that we need momentum forwards. We can't just be looking at buildings decaying and thinking about the past or how it could be. It's important to have momentum, and I think in Portugal now with this momentum, I understand that some people might resent it, but I think with momentum you have opportunity, and I think before possibly there wasn't so much opportunity, and that's perhaps why, like in your case, people were moving outside of Portugal. It's an interesting dynamic how it unfolds. We shall see.
you know what it is, Justin. It is a I know I of course I'm Portuguese. I identify as Portuguese, but in my mind right now, my mind kind of I was able to expand my mind by being outside Portugal and see things in a different perspective. And I think that sometimes it's that's what I would think maybe some people would need, that is to see things in different perspective from an outside perspective. This case being you know being out of Portugal, you could whatever country you want to go is a speed, but realize though, when you see a different perspective of the world and how each country does things, you learn a lot. And that's what that's why I have like I have a lot of appreciation for the time I was in US and in California itself, because of the things I was able to learn, see the perspective of life differently, and to think things differently. The things that I'm doing right now, I'll be honest with you, saying this even before I met my wife, I would never, in my mind, I was like, I would never thought I was able to do these, or I was ever thinking to do it. Just because of I have to say this again, sorry, Portuguese friends, but the Portuguese mentality that we have here. We feel we are limited to what we know here and what we can do here, and that's it.
Okay.
And sometimes we need to open our minds of seeing the possibilities of what can happen. And like I said, being outside, coming here, the way I'm thinking, the way I see things is different. And when I came back now, doing these new varieties of things of work, it's because of that open mentality that was created, and be able to see, okay, these is things we can do, and still have a relaxed and free, stress-free life. But then when we think about basically what we were trying to say was basically the idea of when we see the people doing all these things, and we think it's bad for them, for the it's not as great for the countries. We're driving the prices, making the things prices higher, or changing things. It's not a bad. It's if we change our perspective, seeing things, look at them in a bad way, but we look at it in a way that how things can actually make Portugal progress even more. How can it change the future?
Yeah.
I think then people start having a different perspective of things. So
yeah, the worst thing you want to do is to create that negativity, and you can actually see it a little bit in society at the moment with some sort of far right implications in the politics. Is when you feed that negativity and you blame everybody else and you blame other people for doing things, and a political party can pick up on that. It's dangerous, because a political party will pick up on that, and then they start to regularize, or they start to control, and they start to make systems in place which prevents momentum and freedom almost. I think it's a dangerous thing. It's a very thing you got to be very careful with. And it's one of the reasons why I've done this podcast, to be honest, is to try to get to grips with the psychology of people like yourself who have gone away. They come back, and then they have this entrepreneurial spirit, and you see the opportunity here, and you bring ideas here, and you can be more free. You don't, in regulation, if a government steps in and regulates you even more, it's less. It costs you more money, and it's less. It reduces your activity, and And I think that is not a great thing. We want, in my opinion anyway, we want as little government interference as possible. We want them to serve us. We want them to serve us in providing good roads, good infrastructures, which they have. I mean, Portugal has fantastic infrastructure in terms of roads anyway. Around my area, Alentejo, it's questionable, but what I'm seeing is the government, the local councils, câmaras, they're actually repairing the roads now. There's a new highway near me. There's a new road that they're building to Beja, which is where we take our boy to school. It's starting to happen, and I think it's very important to look at the country, and you think, okay, Porto and Lisbon, yes, the housing prices are going up, but maybe that's a reflection of other major capital cities where people want to live because it's a good place to live. And let's face the fact: if you cannot afford to live in Lisbon, then there is a whole beautiful, vast country outside of Lisbon which you can move to. We moved from Ericeira. We wanted to buy a property there, but it was too expensive. We wanted to have some land. We wanted to have animals. We wanted to have a farm. So we moved to Alentejo, and it's been a really, really fantastic and worthwhile move but we saw the market, and we just were realistic, and we didn't complain. We thought, okay, let's take an opportunity somewhere else. And sometimes when you take that leap, you find somewhere and you were like, wow, why didn't we think of this earlier? I think it's that perspective to try to feel confident enough to take that risk, that leap.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I'm going to say, I'm pretty sure that probably happened in your case. And when you went to Alentejo, it depends where you are. If you were in a small town, probably people would, and it might be a little confused, like, who is these people coming in here? They have the perspective of looking at the outsiders, but I just think people like I see, I personally like variety. And again, being outside, I learned that variety, different cultures, the combination of it always brings beautiful things.
Hmm.
Because it's the combination of them, you create new things, and that new things sometimes created are just amazing things.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm enjoying, coming back. It's been a year and a half since me and my wife, we came back, and I noticed in general, even small, not as bigger towns, but I know we noticed more that a lot of foreigners, a lot of tourists around, but we noticed the influence it's creating in the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. We talk about everything the country is offering right now in Portugal. We notice a variety of cultures, and I even noticed, for example, the Portuguese cuisine itself. In some places, they actually grab something traditional or typical, and they were able to make a twist or improving to something else, almost combining with a different culture.
Brilliant.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the people have to realize. It's like you said, and I'm going to put myself on that, because back in the day, I probably had I had 2 points that we Portuguese, we love it: complaining and being negative.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about being creative, isn't it? It's like, people, us foreigners, we turn up here because we think that there is something about Portuguese culture that we love. We can't identify it. It's not just. It used to be probably just about the sun and having a swimming pool and a barbecue. Maybe I'm being generalizing a little bit down there in the Algarve, but we end up here because there is an essence here that we feel at home, even though it's not our home. We feel welcome. I don't know. It's hard to put our finger on. Again, it's part of the podcast is to try to identify what it is that attracts people here, and to allow the Portuguese voices or other voices who are already living in Portugal to try to express what it is here that is so special. It is. I've lived in many places in the world, and it is a special place. And after 11 years being here, I still can't really. This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by Flow Sports. If you're into jiu-jitsu, wrestling, rugby, cycling, basketball, and many more sports, Flow Sports have you covered. Stream live events, watch exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and dive into a world of top-tier sports coverage, all on one app. Don't miss a moment. Tap the link in the show notes to start watching with Flow Sports today. But yeah, it's interesting to try to understand the Portuguese psychology and the psyche and why we love it so much here. And I think it's a lot to do with the welcoming feeling we get from Portuguese people generally. And what I find is it's just a multitude of things. Simply when I'm driving in my car, there's less cars on the road, and people let you onto the roundabout, or you know what I mean. There is a type of like a community, a small scale community in a country. I think maybe I'm making sense there, but I feel sometimes even when you just go into a cafe, you can just say hello to everybody in the cafe. Somebody else will walk into the cafe, say hello to everybody. So it's like everybody knows each other or doesn't know each other, but it's still, they treat each other like it's one small community, but it's a country. I think we're all missing that, I think we miss that from other countries. How do you compare it from California to Portugal? How do you compare? I mean, should I ask how does Yaz feel it? Because she is probably more, well, I guess you both in tune with the differences.
No, she does. It's like you mentioned. It is a variety of things I think attracts people to Portugal. Of course, the lifestyle that's more calm, free of stress-free. How calm in a way secure as well. I mean, we don't have as many problems, and there's a lot of countries, so things are. We feel safe. The how easy it is to just to go around. But I think that beside all these, that what a lot of people are looking for is basically a calm lifestyle, no stress. They can just enjoy every day with the beautiful things they have around. In a way, I think the culture in this case, the Portuguese, help that a lot on that too. And I'm going to give an example. We actually just came from a trip. Me and my wife, we just took a few days for just with our dogs. We just went to a little travel. Went to Lisbon, of course. See my family, be there with them for a little bit. Um, and then from there we went to Algarve. We went to Alma do Vinho. So it was a wine festival there. People were really nice. The experience was incredible. And then we decided to go up north to the Douro Valley. And during the time we were there, we just met this couple from there. They're pretty young. They're in their 40s to 50s, and they doesn't know us from nowhere. I say this is for me. It's not new, but for her, it was just very touched. Like they invite us to come to their house, and they just met us for 5 minutes, and she's like, "Oh, I'll show you my house," and we were not expecting that. And for her, she was not expecting it at all, because from their perspective, you don't met just a stranger and you like come to my house, just come over, you know.
Yeah, because in many cases it's not safe, right?
Exactly. But the thing is, the Portuguese, this is part of the culture, and I know that in the north, this is a big thing is hospitality, but this is not in the north only. I think is a Portugal. It's from the south to the north. Of course, different regions might show more than the other ones. But hospitality is a big thing, meaning that in a lot of places, if they knew that even if you're not Portuguese, but if they know that you are in trouble, they'll be there to help you and give you everything you need. And I think that's that part of the community that you're talking about. It really is how they view people. Like they value life and value people, and I think that makes this place so special.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. So
Yeah, I agree.
for her, she loves the culture. Like
Yeah.
she really loves the culture. Like she been coming back this year. She's been exploring even just music, just listen to Portuguese music. Like
Hmm.
she's finding all these bands, and I know I listened back in the day. I told her some of them before,
Well,
but she really didn't think that.
tell her she must follow a friend of mine who's got she produces like an Instagram thing. It's called Sounds of Lisbon. And she promotes sort of up and coming and new bands and things on the music scene in Lisbon. It's really cool. So she promotes a lot of the events where you can listen to them, where you can find them. Yeah, so if she's into that, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, she is. So I'll share that with her for sure because
Yeah,
she'll love that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, so I think this is what attracts a lot of people.
yeah.
It really is the lifestyle. You know, it's of things. Even we notice the differences of prices and things change.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the world itself is just not Portugal, and this is another thing people need to realize. It's not just Portugal change; the world is changing,
Yeah.
and we're not immune to that. So we just and this is one thing too that I've always loved about Portugal, and I think it makes such a beautiful thing when people with time they realize, even if the Portuguese itself, let's say, they go through a rough patch and they struggle, they never lose their joy or their smile.
Yeah.
They make the best of it.
Yeah.
Even some of them, like I mentioned before, might be known as a complainer or being negative. They might highlight some of that negativity of the problem they have. But the thing is, in my personal experience all these years, I actually never seen nothing missing what during those times. They
Mm-hmm.
always figure out something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's making
And
the
I
most of what you have and doing what you can with what you've got. I think it's definitely and it's something that I really feel like I want to help. I want to protect, and I think maybe foreigners or immigrants or returnees or Portuguese people, I think we have a responsibility because we know what we love and we know what we enjoy about this country. And I think it's in case for the fact of people moving here, I think they need to learn what the culture is all about. And I think as you experience it, you will understand more and you'll learn it. And in the learning and the participating, I think you also have a responsibility to protect that culture as well, because it's one of the reasons it attracted you, and you don't want to sort of imprint too much of your own culture that it changes the culture. It can be adapted with influences, but I think you still need a Portuguese flavor. And I think we should, as outsiders, understand that we can make an impact on a small country. And we should make that a big effort to learn about the country, the culture. And I think we should also take a responsibility to try to protect the things that attracted us to this country in the first place. And I think also, I mean, immigration is an interesting question. You have different cultures that are very, very strong. Perhaps that's sometimes where we feel the clash is, and there is a lot of the safety factor is something that is a big plus here. I think Portugal is like number 4 or something in the lowest crime statistics. And I think that is very, very important that we protect that and we understand and we vote in the right way, but also not being, I don't know what to say this, not by being too influenced by the media in a negative way and picking up too much on the negativity and letting that pervade your outlook of Portuguese life and living here and what it means to deal with immigration. It's things that we can help with. We talk to people. This podcast goes out to quite a few people, like 6,000-7,000 downloads an episode. So I'm hoping that just that taking the time a little bit to try to understand the different voices and to to see a different perspective than what the media portrays. A lot of the time, it can be a little bit negative.
No, I agree with you. It's just, well, in general, media feels like this is what the only thing they like to highlight is the problems. Yeah, we know we have problems, but the win is good. It'll, we know there's not. It would be great if they happen. It's to highlight the good things too, but that's very rare even to happen. So, but if we if we know why we all contribute to the different level mindset, the way we see things, and of course for us Portuguese, this is one thing that I always from you there's always in a way is that it's sometimes it's like the concern is it goes with what you're saying is not is ourselves don't let our culture like we lose our culture. It means that we shouldn't adjust our culture to just to fit in the other cultures. It's nothing we cannot make adjustments. We can, but then I think the country itself can start losing some identity of what it is that attract people.
Yeah,
and I think that's one thing that we want to make sure that, and I think it goes according with what you're saying. It's to really to understand the culture, understand the people. How can we contribute to keep that values in place? Because that's what it made this place so attractive, and you want to have that still have that feeling.
Yeah. It's a dilemma. It's a dilemma, and it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's all about talk and thought and trying to navigate a path. And I always say, I like to say this, like as soon as I turn the news off, there is no problems. I don't have any problems.
I like that.
I turn the news off and look outside, and there's no problems outside. It's just on the news. That's one way to look at it. Anyway, probably a little bit isolationist, but yeah, let's see. Well, André, it's been really interesting to talk to you. And where can people get in contact, say, for your services, your relocation services, your renovation services? That's definitely a great idea because it can be a challenge renovating a property here, or it can be very, very easy if you find the right people. And and I think you guys also, you and your wife also have another Instagram account, don't you, where you talk about Portugal also returning from California, coming from California, returning to Portugal. So what's the best way for people to get in contact with you and follow you? Because I'll leave that link in the show notes.
Yeah. So beside the Instagram, I'll can give you the if I have to put there, I put even my direct contact. It might be the easiest way to do that, even email. So I'll leave that note. So if they can contact me to the email and my direct line.
Okay.
And I'll be open to help with whatever process.
Great. Your Instagram also has like the links to the email and your telephone number as well, right?
Yes, I think that's correct.
Okay.
But that will be the best way of to reaching out. If by phone, I'll answer pretty fast.
Great.
So
great. Nice.
But yeah, and I forgot to and you'll notice on people when you visit Instagram. I'm actually like my wife. She bought the drone, but I'm the one using it.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah. Sorry, I did notice that. Sorry, I forgot to mention
Yeah,
that. That was cool.
so this is what there's a thing to start doing is basically she bought the drone and then she's like, okay, you practice. So I've been doing a lot of footage because again to highlight the beauty, how beautiful it is to Portugal, and then basically we try to every little place we go new, we try to make something about the place.
That's great
to highlight that to people.
Yeah, which account is that? That's on Instagram, I assume.
It's actually my it's the same account that my account actually.
Okay.
So basically have that thing and because it's again give a perspective of the country, different places people can visit.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that I just recently added to my concierge service is basically like a travel experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically got certified as a travel agent. So if people need, let's say they came here and they want to do a nice experience in Portugal, like for example, they want to come to Algarve, not just enjoy the beaches, but other things that the Algarve has to offer. I'll basically create a package of something for them, the way they can enjoy what
Especially
the
off
best the
season.
Algarve can offer.
Yeah,
Same,
especially.
and again, it's different parts of Portugal.
Yeah.
That we do that.
Nice. You should get in touch with Airbnb as well. There's you know how they have the photographers you can employ through Airbnb to come and take photos of your house. So it'd be quite cool for Airbnb to provide like a drone footage or some snippets of the area people are going to stay. That would be quite cool. All right.
I don't mind do that. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah. No, I just had a thought. Great, Andre. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to talk to you, man. And if you stay on the line, because I need to ask you a question about some pictures and things. So,
okay.
I have an idea for you for that. So. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal, thanking Andre.
6 feet under the rock, I'm gone. I dig a hole and hide on my magazines. All the spots are not obscene. I just need some time, some focusing. I got the pen, I got the sheet, I got my plan, I got my screen. Someone tell me please the reasoning to stop playing Baldur's Gate 3. 1, 2, 3, we're living on a rock, living on a rock, living on a roller coaster. 365 per year, living on a round, in a muffin chocolate. I need to concentrate.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.